Crank up your Bluetooth speaker, insert your tiny shin guards, and finish your off-brand energy drink, because you are now listening to the Dry Powder Pod.
Something we learned about you on this podcast is that you like to heckle service workers at the Miami Airport Fridays. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I was surprised when I brought this up last time. I feel like we were at that point pretty deep in the mailbag.
This is the TGI Fridays at the Miami Airport. It's an open air smoking lounge, so it's like outside. But the other side is also a TGI Fridays.
We do not condone the harassment of bartenders at the Miami, specifically at the Miami Airport Fridays. The Miami Airport Fridays is a special and sacred place that does not have an Apple TV subscription. So
it was
a little out of line.
I shouldn't have asked.
It
was pretty rude of me when I started yelling at the bartender, "Why don't you have MLS Season Pass?"
You should never ask a bartender.
You can get it for $80 if you're already subscribed to Apple TV, which I assume you are. You know, just screaming that over and over.
You ask a bartender if they have MLS, they think it's some sort of STD. They get hostile.
Now all I have to do is be like, "Yo, do you have DraftKings? Yo, open up your app real quick. One sec.
Can you make a $5 bet for me real quick?"
I literally did that. So I went out to dinner with some friends last night, Worcester area friends. You guys would have been invited if you lived in the area, but unfortunately,
a likely story. Okay,
you do not. And I helped him build an MLS parlay so he could for $5 so he could get that MLS season pass. So
you literally linked and built.
Yeah,
you linked and built with this person.
And it collapsed.
Oh,
you linked and builded.
What was the parlay? I'm curious.
Down to the depths, whatever man they thought of parlay. That would be the French.
Yeah, hit us.
I had Nashville winning, which didn't happen. They lost to Cincinnati.
Crazy game.
I had San Jose winning. Yeah, it was. I had San Jose over Seattle, which didn't happen. And I also had Chicago over Montreal, which was
closer.
A bizarre game. It was like pouring rain, and Chicago played terribly, and Montreal should have won that one. But anyway, all my calls were terrible, so I confidently acted like I was, I'm the MLS gambling expert. Here are all my crazy picks.
That's
and
what
I think
I know you
all
as.
of them were
so.
wrong. Yeah.
You are the MLS gambling expert, and we are a pro gambling podcast.
So he can basically turn a pigeon into a degenerate gambler in like 2 minutes. Okay,
a pigeon?
A pigeon.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. We are so freaking excited to be back and actually are able to talk about a New England Revolution victory, which is something we thought we would never see the day. Shocked faces.
I'm soy facing.
No one has video. We're all soy facing right now, and also raising the roof, dancing, dabbing. I hit many gritties yesterday.
Whittly.
For sure. We hit the gritty yesterday a lot in my basement, which is where my TV is, which is where I was watching the game. I didn't just go down to my basement to hit the gritty.
Well, it's also the gritty room.
Likely story. I've seen your basement. There's no TV down there.
Yeah,
you have an exposed toilet.
There is a printed out instruction on how to gritty on the wall, poster size. So.
Folks, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to be here with my co-host, the Chad, and Abe, Dr. Strawberry, Doubleday Bush. It's coming back. I'm happy. I'm in a good mood. We're all in a pretty good mood because the Revs actually did something cool and they played okay.
Okay!
Which we're going to get into, and maybe even better than okay. I don't know. It's something we're going to discuss today. Is this false hope, or is this something to actually be really excited about? We will find out. But we got our first win. We got our first goal scored by a Revs player.
Still no goals in open play.
Yeah, no goals in open play, which we'll get into. We don't want to move the goal post too much, and we want to celebrate.
We did score some goals.
We're going to celebrate the goals that were scored. They were one of them was world class, just incredible.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
top bins.
Can't believe that's gone in top bins.
We all know who did it.
That was
top
cheddar.
bins, absolute cheddar, top bins, cha-ching, click, click,
bow, bow, bow.
All the put in a lot of sound effects. But before we get into that, I wanted to cover. Well, first do a few, let's say, corrections or apologies from last week when we're very,
the ombudsman contacted us and
we
let us
say
know
a
that
lot
we
of
made some
things
big mistakes.
we pride ourselves on the Dry Powder Pod in being a source of truth. So if we ever misspeak or we say something that is incorrect, we will go back in the next episode and issue a correction and an apology. So
you can apologize. I will never apologize.
Chad will never apologize.
Stands on business.
Yeah, 10 toes.
So from last week, we were talking about Tejan Buchanan, one of our favorite Canadian wingers, wingbacks, right back, whatever you want to call him. I said he played for Valencia out on loan. He plays for Villarreal. So I just wanted to apologize for that because we called him a friend of the pod and then we spread misinformation about him, and that's kind of messed up. So we apologize. Tejan, friend of the pod, please come on. And my second apology, I just wanted to say that Montreal and French Canada and the proud nation of France are all cool, and I didn't mean to make fun of them. I apologize for that. I realized this, and I'm making this apology maybe because I looked back through the analytics. We actually had 3 listeners in France for the last episode.
They don't care about French Canada.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck about French Canada.
So what I want to do right now is just hop into like some not Revs related stuff from around the league and get your reactions, kind of quick hits before we hop into the game. There's a lot to talk about with this game, so we don't want to linger too long on some of the news stories because there's stuff around the league. Oh my God! Okay,
I love that.
Did you just think of the jingle for this section? I think I need to. I'm gonna get in the studio.
I can do that better, and then maybe we can.
We will hit the studio and record an actual jingle there. Oh my God, this podcast is. We're taking off, folks. We're going to the moon.
3, 2, 1.
The first big story from around the league right now, or actually not around the league, just around the world of soccer, because this is not an MLS story. We called out for it. We said, Boss Nation FC, please announce your new name. We need to know your new name. We got it. It is here, and it is Boston Legacy FC. And I want to hear what you guys think. My reaction was, it went from shit to okay, boring,
it's
great.
Better than Boss Nation FC. You can say that with confidence.
What's the legacy though? What kind of legacy are we creating?
The legacy would be the Boston Breakers.
The legacy starts now.
The Boston Breakers, the other women's team, but
Boston Breakers.
That's actually a cool name. Why did they just bring that back? In my opinion, I don't know. But we have the new team. They have their stadium plans. For context, for any listeners who aren't aware, it's pretty close to where the proposed Everett site is. I think maybe a few miles away. I'm not sure exactly. But it's a bit of a smaller stadium. I think like in the 10 to 12,000 seater, which I'm really excited for. Like you guys, I saw the new name and I was like, it's a little better.
It's better.
Boss Nation FC was you couldn't have done worse than that, really, unless it was like, I don't know. Like it really...
Or like a money
Girl
sign.
Boss FC.
A money sign with S's.
Actually,
that would be kind of cash money.
That would actually be cash money. I think you're wrong on that one. If it had been Boss Nation FC, but instead of an S, there's a dollar sign.
That would sell.
It was just Boss Cha-ching Nation FC. Anyway, the sound effect is in the name of the team.
It would be like Ty Dollar Sign. It would be like Bo Dollar Sign Nation FC.
Yeah, Bo Dollar Sign Nation FC.
That sounds pretty... That rolls off the tongue.
All right, we're going to propose a rebrand to the rebrand. Bo Dollar Sign Nation FC. I think that has legs.
I think we cooked.
The Revolution just launched a new travel marketplace platform, is how they're branding it, called Revolution Travel. So pretty much it's a way for fans to like get a Revolution on the road specific travel agent where you can go in, say the away game you want to go to, it'll give you like hotels and help you with flights or train tickets or whatever it might be. And it's an interesting idea. I was excited for it on paper. I went and checked it out. I think the convenience of it is nice, but you're going to save more money if you just try and buy things individually. And I think this might sound better than it actually is. I do think it's cool that they're encouraging travel, because that's something that's really lacking in MLS. And I wanted to ask you guys if you had any thoughts on like ways to encourage or get more away fans at games. The away fans at games will actually lead into our next story, but we'll get to that in a second. The Crafts used to subsidize bus trips to away games occasionally. I would vote to bring that back.
They should absolutely still be doing that. I did a little digging though, because I was like, where did this collaboration come from? So it's a collaboration between Revolution and bookseats.com, which again,
Book Seats.
Book Seats.
Haven't heard of that.
It's a platform that sells sports experiences.
I'm going to Google this.
Yeah, books, seats, all one word. They sell sports packages like for every league. So if you're a football fan, you can, flights, cars, hotels, all that good stuff.
So this is their thing they do, and I bet you they're partnered with other teams too. If I had,
absolutely, yeah, they are.
Yeah,
and you're right. I think it probably is less expensive to just get everything on your own, but the convenience factor is something that I think is the main selling point here. So if you're a Revs fan with disposable income, this is for you. I went and checked it out. I was just playing around. I was like, oh, how much would it be for me to go to Ohio?
If you can tell me one good reason to go to Ohio, I'll consider going. But why? Why do you want me to go there?
A lot. Yeah, a lot. I think the hotel room,
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame,
2-night hotel room alone, I didn't even get past this first screen. It was upward in like this, 700s. So
yep, you're like, I'm out.
Again, that's on short notice. But I thought the idea was cool. So if you're planning a trip, I don't know, a couple months in advance, I think this would actually be like an interesting tool to look at first.
Yeah. It's a cool tool. It's not revolutionary.
Nice.
That would, dude, all of our supporters show up in a yacht, like 1,000, like a dangerous amount of supporters in the yacht.
That would strike fear in the hearts of the enemy.
And we all are armed with muskets.
Or they would laugh, but the musket part would be key.
Revolutionary War era garb. We're 1,000 of us on a yacht. We're just screaming and yelling, "Revolution!" and like storm.
I fall off the yacht because I'm trying to do the George Washington crossing the Delaware thing. My foot up.
Yes. Oh, dude, that would be an iconic picture. Anyway, I'll end on that by saying shout out to that 2014 playoff run where I think the Crafts did this, and it was like away playoff games. Went back when it was 2 legs. There was like thousands of Revolution fans who watched us win at New York Red Bulls. Shout out Teal Bunbury, incredible left-footed goal that game from outside the box. Look it up if you're a fan who's never seen that.
Teal Bunbury! What a goal!
Speaking of away fans, and needing more away fans, and needing a little more action with away fans in MLS, because sometimes we're lacking in, fan conflicts and like a little bit of a storyline. Well, we did get that in a pretty nasty way across the other coast. This was a really good game. San Diego versus LAFC was wild. It was so entertaining.
Incredible. 5 goals.
What was the final score?
3-2, I think. But it could have been a lot more. 3-2, and LAFC got a red card, but still made chances. Like they could have pulled it off. But anyway, it was crazy. And LAFC is known, they get really good traveling fan support, especially if it's in their region. The 3252 they bring.
Sometimes that can boil over.
It has boiled over a few times. There's been times where their games have had to be stopped because of throwing trash on the field.
I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring.
It's hard to tell from watching the clips how much it's San Diego. I'm going to say Ultra's faults versus LAFC, but there were some crazy brawls that I have not seen at, like, I was seeing the clips of people getting sucker punched, literally knocked out.
Knockout punches, yeah.
Cops really not doing a good job of containing anything, and just crazy brawls breaking out. It was like it was brutal. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, oh damn, we have Ultras, but also you hate to see like that kind of violence at a game. I don't know, so I had mixed feelings.
You love to see passion, and I realize that Ultras are a huge part of the international game, but you don't necessarily want to see full-on brawls in the street and folks getting knocked out and it's spilling over to, who knows who could be victimized in that situation. So not the greatest thing. We love to see the passion. We love to see, strong fan groups doing their thing and supporting their teams, but maybe support just your teams with...
just yell. I don't know.
Yeah, with your words. You don't necessarily have to support your teams with your fists, right?
Maybe say some mean things to the opposing fans. Sure, yell at each other.
Get personal.
Don't fight. You can accidentally kill someone doing that, man, and that's the scary part of like when you sucker punch. Like the video clip I saw, this dude gets hit in the face, and I heard his head crack on the pavement.
Yeah, that's not really what you want to see. Just learn an opposing team member's dad's name. When they're coming up to take a corner kick, just yell out their dad's name. Right?
Even further than that, I would say, like, I don't know, I watched the clip a couple times. The fella also gets kicked in the head as soon as he hits the ground, which is
that
we cross a line there, and I think the security was a little bit out of their depth on this one, and hopefully this is a lesson learned for stadium security. Just,
I mean, the one, like I said, this is bad. You hate to see this, but also at the same time, it's like, damn, okay, so San Diego and LAFC are a real rivalry.
Their fans are ready to go.
Their fans are like, I'm going to destroy their fans with my fist.
They'll kill you.
I'm kind of pumped. I will say I'm kind of pumped for this rivalry. Last night's game was out of control.
Last night's game was popping.
Yeah.
So on the topic of injuries and folks getting hurt on or around the pitch, we had a pretty high profile one, right, Tyler?
That was an incredibly seamless transition into our final story before we get into our game overview.
That's why I do this.
Folks, take notes. If you're an aspiring podcaster, take some freaking notes. This guy's a pro. So our final story, unfortunately, this is Alphonso Davies, Canadian left back, arguably the best player in CONCACAF, I would say.
One of the best players to come out of MLS. Played, I think, starting as a 16-year-old, was playing full matches in the first team from 16 to 18 or 19.
Shout out Vancouver Whitecaps for creating the greatest MLS product of all time. Truly a great player. And really sad news that when he went out hurt in the beginning of that Canada game, the first 10 minutes in, he actually had torn his ACL. And originally, you hear the story and you're like,
terrible.
Oh, that's such a bummer. But man, it happens. Like, that sucks. But then you read a little bit more about it, and apparently he was being urged to not play him because Alphonso Davies apparently was not at 100%. And now Bayern, his home club across the pond in Germany, is considering suing Canadian soccer for starting him, for Jesse Marsch choosing to start him in this game. And I think it was Alphonso Davies, his agent, put out a pretty blistering statement as well.
So you're saying his people were urging Marsch not to play him because he wasn't fully ready to go?
That's my understanding. I don't have a full of who exactly was saying. Apparently, Davies was not at 100%, and their argument, Bayern, is that this game didn't matter, which I don't really fully agree with. But I want to hear what you guys think about it because it's a weird one. Chad, did you have any thoughts?
So I read that in the previous game, he tweaked his knee. I think he also maybe tweaked his hamstring, but he was like, I'm not at 100%, please, let's not play me. And Marsch put him in the starting 11 anyway, and then this
Marsch
happened.
Wanted that bronze medal.
Yeah, really had to beat up on that U.S. team in an empty stadium. From the coach's perspective, I kind of get it, because he's a weapon on the field. But if you have your, a player in an kind of inconsequential game saying hey, I'm not feeling great, I'm not at 100%, please don't play me, and you put him in anyway, and then this happens, I feel like it's kind of on you as a coach.
It's tough with internationals, man. It's and obviously most players, in most situations, you want to come out and show out for your country. You want to do right by your nation, and you want to win as much as you can on the international stage. But I'd have to imagine if I was in his shoes, I would also be thinking a little bit more about Bayern and their ongoing season, Champions League hopes, Bundesliga champion hopes, versus a bronze medal for Canada. That's got to be a really tough situation to be in.
Nations League. The coveted Nations League trophy. I mean, to be fair, the Nations League is kind of...
I like the Nations League. I want to be totally clear that I really like how the Nations League has fired international players up in CONCACAF, in UEFA. I think that the introduction of the Nations League has led to a lot more competitive games and really interesting, hard-fought, fun-to-watch games versus your typical international friendly. But that's also an issue when you have a high-intensity, hard-fought game, is you're going to get more injuries.
The biggest thing is, did Davies actually say, please, don't play me, and Marsch was like, you have to play? Or was it something in the middle? Or was it... That's where I'm seeing maybe conflicting reports. I've seen some that kind of frame it as Davies didn't want to play, but I don't know. If you know athletes, they always want to play even when they could get risk injury. They're not. Sometimes they don't have that foresight. Yeah, because they're competitors.
Yeah, and maybe that's something his agent is putting out just to CYA. But for Bayern to then pursue it afterwards, it seems significant.
I mean, that's the most interesting part, right? And
I think it's fascinating.
What could come out in Discovery if Bayern actually sued Canadian soccer? Because we already have learned a little bit about Canadian soccer in the last year. They got some bad press.
The Dry Powder Boys, as mentioned at the top of the show, have been celebrating, have been partying non-stop since we got our first dub of the year. This is exciting stuff.
I haven't slept.
I have not slept since the game. In our 100th meeting with the New York Red Bulls, Carles Gil and the motherfucking Revvies get it done at home at Gillette. This nail biter went over 100 minutes. And Caleb Porter made some insane faces along the way, but in the end, the heart of this team, Carles Gil, showed up. He elevated everyone around him, and he just had an incredible performance, and we were able to overcome the evil energy drink empire. For me, it was just a sigh of relief at the end. The game finished, I was just like, oh, God. I don't know. How did you guys... How was the last few minutes of the game for you? And then how did you feel when we finally got that first dub?
Nervy, you know. I hope that this is the feeling of righting the ship, but when you're not 100% certain that that the ship is righted and that we're back on the correct path, there's still a lot of nerves going on. So my hope, ideally, this is the turning point, and it's a turning point in a number of ways. We get a few good players back in the next week or two. That could be really important. Campagna, most notably. So this could absolutely be a turning point and could be a huge thing. It felt, the catharsis, the sense of relief was excellent, especially after, 100 minutes in the 100th matchup between these two storied franchises. Well, one storied franchise and one energy drink empire. It's just, I still got a little trepidation. I'm still a little trepidatious.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Chad, what was your main takeaway in your gut after the final whistle blew and we managed to survive this game?
I saw a lot of things I liked. I saw a lot of weaknesses still persisting. Backline didn't look as strong as it has in previous games.
Yeah, we'll get into that for sure.
To echo Abe's sentiment, I was also nervy. I think for the last 4 minutes, I was on my couch just kind of screaming at the ref, "Hey, blow the whistle. Hey, blow the whistle.
Just end it.
Blow it."
I don't know how we are still playing. It's 3 minutes over already extra time. Please blow it. And then, of course, game ends, breathe a sigh of relief. I think I took a walk outside because I was like, yes, finally. But, yeah. No, it was a good win.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and it was a decent game, and I agree with you guys that it's funny, there was some things where it's like, finally, they're doing this thing that we've been waiting for them to do. And there was also some things where it's like, some of our weaknesses that we've speculated about on previous episodes showed up even more in this one. Like, we were giving up more XG than we have in previous games, even if we created way more. For context, we actually had more shots on target than our previous 4 matches combined, and that same story goes for expected goals. We had more expected goals this match than we did our previous 4 matches combined, which is pretty crazy.
It's a statement of intent. It's a statement of intent from a coach who knows he's on the hot seat. I think that we were talking privately and I was seeing rumblings in the media and on social media from fans about how if we had lost this game, it could have meant Porter's out.
Okay, bye-bye.
So I think that this was a statement of intent. We gave up more XG than we had. I think that's a really good point. And that's a combination of the changes to the back line, which we'll get into, as well as a slight change up in style. Porter in the postgame said that the formation didn't change. It was just personnel changes. But I definitely think that there was more attacking intent and there was more willingness to not sacrifice the defensive side. But I think that while in the previous 4 games, the defensive side was the overwhelming majority focus as the system is trying to be established, I think that this one, maybe it was a little bit more 60-40 offense, and coach and the players deliberately sold out the defense somewhat in order to get more offense going.
Best defense is a good offense.
To build that, it's like just that confidence up front. And I think it worked. And I mean, we'll get into this in the player stock up, stock down. But a lot of the ways they were playing, I found that Ganago and Langoni were kind of almost playing at times like a striker. And a lot of that had to do with Arudi being just in the way out there. It felt like at times, and I'm going to get into this in the stock up, stock down, but it felt like there were just some slight tweaks with the players, like allowing them to a little more freedom, a little more versatility in their approach, and just a little more risk-taking that paid off in this one. The back line was shambolic at times, and that can't be ignored as well. And this very easily could have been like a 3-2 loss, if things kind of fall slightly different, like Red Bulls take advantage of some of the chances they made. But I felt like there was just like an energy level that had been raised up, a little more team cohesion. And I loved this story because I wrote that in my notes after this game. As I was like, it's just overall, it feels like everyone was slightly better on the day than we've been.
Just a better team
besides
effort.
One individual. But apparently, Carles insisted the night before this match, and I love this story, and I wish I had the reporter in front of me I could attribute this story to, insisted as the captain that the entire team come together for a team dinner the night before, every single player, no exceptions, before this one,
Love
to like get everyone motivated, hype everyone up, get that cohesion before this game, and be like, we have to win this before a really difficult road stretch. And I was just like, yes, that's my guy. That's my captain. Dude, I would die for him, man. It's crazy. We had some mailbags in the previous few episodes that have been like a little skeptical of where he currently is at, and this game was like, no, dude,
you're that guy.
He's still that guy. He's still him. Easily.
Yeah, and healthy skepticism, because, you know, you all saw what we all saw, but in the first few games, but this was huge. You know, off the field and on the field, this was Carles stepping up, putting the team on his back.
This is putting the team on your back. Oh my goodness.
And saying, you know, we're going to go out, we're going to get those points. And it was a wonderful thing to see. His free kick goal was...
Carles Gil!
Oh my God.
Outstanding.
It's a nice little hit of dopamine just to watch that little clip back, and we also, as Revs fans, we take anything we can get, and that was lovely. To have your first goal of the season, to be holding off for over a month, and your first goal is that, it's like you don't even know how to react.
Beauty of a direct free kick.
Which is also just kind of funny. It's like, can we score some tap-ins too? Yeah.
Nah, I don't want to get us too far off track here, but what do you guys think they had for dinner?
I was just thinking that. Like maybe tapas?
Goodness.
I'm trying to think of what Carles would bring them to. You know, like a little tapas place, finish off with a paella.
Our tummies are full of paella.
Probably. I hope it's like a Thanksgiving thing and everyone brought dishes like from their,
like a
their
potluck?
home countries.
Yeah.
There's so much great diversity on this team that if there's just
Like
people
the Christmas episode of Ted Lasso.
I was
Yes,
picturing
exactly.
the players like sitting around, even some on the floor in his house, just all eating together.
I
Way
was
too
thinking
many
that they
players.
maybe went out. Like
Revs
maybe they
too
went
were
to like
there as
medieval
well.
times.
They probably went out, I would have to say. Hosting, unless Carlos has a mansion, which I don't think he does.
Probably
he might.
does. I mean, he probably has a pretty big house.
He makes a fair amount of money, but yeah. I think they all live in like Franklin, Massachusetts. I don't know. The lovely
we
town
won't
of-
dox them. We will find out, but we won't
will
share
dox
with
the
you.
entire team eventually. But that's a episode for the Patreon, folks. So yeah, I'll end before hopping into stock up, stock down. Just one more thing, which I thought was interesting. Abe, you mentioned that you were had read rumblings that this could be Caleb Porter's last game if this result was poor. Apparently, and to me, this says that is probably the case. The Crafts, at least confirmed. I don't know if other Crafts were there. I know Jonathan Kraft was at this game. If they're at a game,
that's big.
and that question is up, he's probably going there to he's been told you might need to fire this guy, and he's like, all right,
right.
I guess I'll go. I have to go to the game to see if I should fire this
do
guy.
it in person if he's got to do it immediately post game.
And then after the game, congratulates him, and Porter's sweating. And
to be real, I
he lives
feel
to
like
coach another day.
I hope he's on the hot seat for the whole season. Quite honestly.
We're going to hop into our stock up, stock down. But before that, we're going to hear a word from our latest sponsor. And before we hear a word from our latest sponsor, we want to apologize. We consulted with our legal team, and we should not be sponsored by Zyn. And we apologize for not screening that product placement last time, and it will not happen again.
We have been told that pepperoni Zyn is not a real flavor.
It's not. I don't think
we
Zyn
did not
actually
know
even
this.
sent that.
They didn't send it to you, but they sent it to me. So I've
pepperoni
been
Zins?
guinea pigging
Did you get
this.
Did you get the samples?
Yeah, I got the suppressed Zins. Yeah.
Well, we've been saying that the cured meat Zyn is a good idea, and so it makes sense to us, the ad. But
But then paid us to advertise it.
we're gonna have to dig in a little bit more on this one.
Detective episode coming to the Patreon soon. All right, a word from our sponsor.
Today's episode is brought to you by Gillette. You're a diehard Revolution fan. You got the scarf, the signed ball, you even got the Jose Gonçalves bobblehead. Now, it's time to take your fandom to the next level with a used pre-match razor from none other than your captain, Carles Gil. That's right, you can own a razor personally used by the man himself. Choose from safety razors, Mach 3s, and Fusion 5s, all caked with real game day stubble.
Guys, I just got the game-used Carles Fusion 5 in the mail. It came with my season ticket package. I'm over the moon. I'm so psyched about this. It has stubble in the blades that I know belongs to my favorite player in the league. I obviously don't use it to shave myself, but I touch my skin with it. I smell it sometimes. I look at it. I keep it above my bed. I'm psyched about this. This is the sand product that you can get in MLS right now.
For a limited time, save 17% on your first order when you use promo code POWDER at checkout. That's POWDER at checkout. Because nothing says dedication like disfiguring your face with a dull razor. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to www.heal.lette now to claim your piece of Revs history. Yeehaw!
All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. We are now going to be doing stock up, stock down. And before we start this section, I know I said, we should only do 4. I had to do a few more for this because everyone's stock was pretty low. So I want to celebrate a lot of players and do some stock ups here because I had a lot of positive thoughts coming out of this one. I excluded center backs from this week's stock up, stock down because it's really rough to analyze the center backs for this match. You already had Ceballos, who was out. So it was a new center back pairing with Omsberg that they're not familiar with. So Omsberg, Fofana. And then Omsberg goes down, which what looked like a turf-related injury, non-contact, grabbed his hammy. Mm-hmm. And then Tanner Beeson comes in, who I thought was okay given the circumstances. Anyway, it's just really difficult to analyze the center backs.
The backup,
The backup to the backups coming in like 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it was
so they were really...
Debut for both of them, right?
Exactly.
I believe so, yeah.
And they have not been... They were not very good. They were pretty out of sorts, especially on the goal we conceded. My goodness, but
it's a tough position to be put into.
I can't necessarily blame them. Like you kind of have to expect there's going to be some chaos when you have that much of a shakeup to your back line mid-game. So I'm just going to leave them out for stock up, stock down. I'm going to start off with stock down, and then we'll transition into stock up and end on a happier note. So my first stock down, I think everyone knows who I'm going to say. It's a Rudy. The team had a really good performance, and he was one of the only players to me that clearly stood out as a player who just was pretty poor. He felt like he was in the way a lot of the times. Like Langoni and Ganago were doing these fantastic sort of diagonal runs and cutting in and going centrally. And it felt like Rudy didn't know how to be a second striker with them. And I don't know how much of that falls on him, but he was just slow in the way and didn't really bring anything to the table. I did note that occasionally he can be good about pressing, like counter pressing, like trying to win the ball back if you lose it in the opponent's final third. But I don't know. How did you guys feel about Rudy? Did you take anything positive out of his performance on this one?
I didn't. No. I think I made a note to myself.
Yeah, you're like, nope, nothing.
Yeah, no argument
here.
He
set it up for one compliment.
No. I made a note to myself. I think there's a chance right at the end where he literally gets in the way of his, I think, Ganago shot.
Ganago, dude.
And actually just
twice.
blocks. It's like, come on, man. Like,
so points for good defense.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, maybe he could have been. Maybe he should have gone in at center back. Maybe that would have made more sense. I don't know, Abe. Do you have any thoughts on a Rudy outside of not great?
I'll echo your praise for his pressing in the final third because I did specifically down him for that in an earlier episode. So I will say, occasionally effective pressing.
And he did occasionally. I don't want to put too much
occasionally.
on him.
That's all I really have to say. We need Campagna back, and we need to get him looking how we need him to look because we really don't have a striker right now, and it's kind of tough.
I mean, it is at least we don't have to panic too much. Like Campagna is supposed to come back soon. And
I don't know if he'll be back for the game on the 5th.
We'll be back soon.
But Campagna will be back soon. Shankala and Campagna should both be back sometime in April.
Yeah.
According to the post-game presser.
When Shankala's back, we got some serious questions about if Ganago, I'll get into him in another section. Spoiler alert, it's the stock up. If he likes playing more centrally as a striker and outperforms Campana, I feel like we could see a situation where Shankala slots in at left wing, and then we have Langoni at right wing, Ganago up top. But we'll see. There'll be some big questions when that happens because Urruti is clearly a backup at least. Like we can at least we're not talking about Veroni here, because we would be complaining, and it would be our DP striker, where this is a guy not taking up too much of the payroll. He's supposed to be the backup striker, so I don't want to be too harsh on him. Like
once we have Shankala and Campagna back, we have a real rotation, and I think that's going to be huge. It's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to be too negative, so we'll hop into the next. I have one more stock down, and then a stock in the middle, where I want to debate. Because we have some differing opinions among the dry powder lads on this one. But the next one that I put in stock down, and this was recommended by the Chad. So I'm going to just say this one, and I'm going to pass you the mic. I want to hear your take on it. You put Yusuf in stock down when we were putting together the show notes, and I was like, I think I agree, but I want to hear what you have to say first before I give my Yusuf take.
I mean, I sure did put Yusuf there. Okay, first of all, it's part of this is by comparison, right? So Yusuf is playing next to Heel, or no, he's playing behind Heel next to Polster, and Polster's going to do what Polster does. He's more of a defensive-minded center mid. Yusuf is supposed to be kind of that pivot, and he spread the ball around. I didn't see too much progressive stuff from Yusuf.
I would agree. He wasn't as active as he was a lot of other games, or like you normally notice he's there, and I felt like I didn't notice him as much this match.
Yeah, I mean, he had.
I agree with that.
I think he had a lot of. I think 46 of like 53 completed passes. So he was doing his job, passing the ball around, moving it. But again, like I said, he wasn't much
progressive passes.
Yeah, wasn't much of a factor. At least in progressing the attack. For me, it's kind of a stock down, just because he's been fairly strong the first 4 games. In this, I just didn't see it.
When he's at his best, to me, what he brings to the table is, like you said, a central midfielder that is box to box, that plays high, but is like your craziest, your headless chicken pressing player. That feels like when I've seen him at his best, it's like he's winning the ball like up the field and creating a chance on the break. And I just haven't seen as much of that from him. I don't know. I definitely am not like bench him. He should be starting.
No.
He should be starting.
Yes. We need him to come into form. And I really think, you've made this point, Tyler, that Porter's system works best when you have a Darlington Nagbe type box-to-box midfielder player. Yusuf isn't going to be that guy in a day, but if he can continue developing, if he can continue working with the staff and with his teammates to, become the best player he can be in that pivot role, I'm not saying he's going to become an MVP of the league, but I definitely think he could be a key part of the sauce of our effective team.
100%. And I'll end on this because I want to hop into, this is a win. We want to just focus on some positivity here. We want this to be fun. If you're a Revs fan and you've not seen Al-Hassan Yusuf's highlights, this was before he was on the Revs, the best performance of his career came in the Champions League, I believe, against Barcelona. Mm-hmm. Look up his highlights in that game, and that is what I want to see from him. I'll leave it at that. I look up those highlights, look at the pressing and the chances he creates through his effective pressing against Barcelona, and then it should make you excited about where his ceiling is as a player. Yeah, but they're this club.
UEFA Lona?
They're not in MLS, so I don't really know anything about them.
I don't rate them.
I don't really rate them. Yeah, they're no Houston Dynamo, but their possession play is pretty good. All right, so this next one, I think we're divided on, because I would have gone stock up, and I think Chad would have gone stock down, or at least a little bit. I'll let him speak for himself. This is Langoni, and I want to give my take on it and then have you guys react. Sure. I was so happy, at least about this one part of it. There's some parts of it I wasn't happy about, but I was so happy seeing him. It felt like he listened to our discussion we had about him on the Dry Powder Pod. It sounded like he listened to exactly what Abe was saying. He wasn't just only going outside for like, oh, you pass me to the corner and I'll do a cross. He was doing these diagonal runs in from out on the right side directly towards the box for Heel to give him that perfect ball in. And there were multiple chances where he got in behind with his speed. I looked at his heat map, and you can literally see that he was just cutting inside way more than he normally is. And it worked. He was way more effective. He was playing super vertically, like Chad was talking about, cutting in, going like just dive bombing right towards the goal. And the only thing that made it not an incredible performance was that this is where I'll pass the mic to Chad, is he may be the most selfless player of all time. I think he refuses
what an incredible spin.
Because
just take the shot, man.
Yeah. No, that would be he's like he wants to give all the joy away of scoring a goal, so he refuses to
So he's like the
himself.
on-field Santa Claus. Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I put him mostly stock up because, like you said, the direct play was incredible. He toasted his defender every time.
Mm-hmm. That was beautiful.
But yeah, man, take the shot.
There's a big butt.
Yeah. I think there are two distinct opportunities I remember where he is behind the entire back line. He is sprinting at the goalie, and the angle's a little tight, but bro, just shoot it.
Take the bloody shot.
Just shoot it.
No,
I mean,
it was crazy.
The
and I think the XG would have been much higher for the Revs if he did shoot, because he was passing into Gonna Go, who is in a position with a way lower expected goals, I would guess. Anyway, not to cut you off, but it is a thing of, I think our XG actually would have been much higher if he had just shot when he was in dangerous spots.
And hopefully, he looks at some film this week and he's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to just be a little bit more selfish moving forward. But, anyway, sorry.
Was it coached out of him? Do you guys think
it might have been? It seems like it wasn't, because he's doing, it seems that this version of Porter on the hot seat, we got incisive runs coming in from both wingers. You know, we have
Gonna Go is not afraid to shoot. Yeah.
Both Langoni and Gonna Go were coming in and making those cuts in from both sides, and it was a beautiful thing to see. I'm in the middle on the lobster, because we have those beautiful runs and we have the lack of end product like you guys just went into. But I want to transition into, because we've been talking about him as the counterpart, let's talk about Gonna Go. So I think this is a guy who we all have as a stock up. I mean, this guy looked great. He won us the winning penalty. He won 2 penalties.
Yep.
And one was called off by VAR.
Probably
but he won us that
deservedly so, but yeah, it was still a good moment. I'd have to maybe
I would have to rewatch it, but looking at honestly, the first one may have been more of a penalty than the second one.
Yeah, we'll get into that. For sure. Yeah.
But we got one of them, and that's what matters. But I just think that he was incisive. He was taking that shot when he was in the danger area. He had solid end product. He won us the penalty that won us our first game. So he's fast. He's effective. And he was a big stock up for me.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I had him. I wasn't sure if I was going to put him in my stock up, because I just wanted him to get. I wanted to get a goal. I wanted to wait till he got his first goal to do it. But I thought he was really great. And I think having Miller doing overlapping runs with him is going to be really, because he was cutting more centrally. Miller loves to go wide. He is fast as hell and will go out wide and try to get that cross in. And we'll get into Miller in a second, because spoiler alert, he's also in my stock up. Gonna Go and him seemed to... I already thought he worked well with Sands. And then Miller comes in, and Miller is like, dude, that guy's so fast. I think he might be faster than Langoni. And I'll get into that in a moment. But having that sort of overlapping run outside really helped open up some space for him to cut inside and make some... I was just really happy with Miller coming back and how he teamed up with Gonna Go. And Gonna Go, he deserved a goal. Like, there were some pretty big saves against some of the shots. And his shots were on target, which we haven't been shooting on target at all. So I do not take any shot on target for granted at this point. So I'm fingers crossed on him. I'm really fingers crossed that he can keep, because he keeps trending in the right direction. He's getting better and better every game.
Chad, anything on Gonna Go or Miller?
I want to get into Miller in just a second, because I also maybe had some mixed feelings about him. But Gonna Go looked great. The goal will come. It will come. He's not afraid to shoot, which I love. I love it so much. But
we need more players like that.
On to Miller, I think, just kind of echo you, Tyler. He's so fast. It's crazy. Just you can see him enter another gear where he'll just glide past players. It doesn't even look like his
acceleration is crazy.
Yeah.
I want to see his top speed versus Langoni's. I think he's faster than Langoni. But that's my prediction.
He very well might be. And he loves getting wide. He loves putting those crosses in. I did not really enjoy him turning the ball over so much in our half, but he is 17, so I will.
He's raw.
Give him some grace, I suppose.
Incredibly raw for sure, and it's just he only played 65 minutes. He's not at 100%, and his acceleration is still as crazy as it was on a few select plays. I was like, dang, I missed watching this. And like, regardless of how the season goes, it's going to be fun to watch him develop more, because like you said,
Absolutely.
He's 17. It's like there was one moment where Gonna Go was like, pass me the ball, it's right there, and it would have like perfectly done, like led to a breakaway, and Miller just like did not have the game awareness in that moment. It was sort of some immaturity of just didn't realize that he needed to pass that ball, and there's just a few moments like that where you're like, oh yeah, you're brutally reminded that he's still a kid. But man, I'm so excited to see the highs and the lows of Miller this year. So he's the next stock up for sure. And my final stock up before we hop into the mailbag is actually Feingold. So to start this game, I think I messaged you guys. I was like very surprised that Feingold was starting over Brandon Bye. I have not seen any indication that Brandon Bye took a knock. Maybe he did, and I missed that information from all my insider sources, which I have many. I did not hear that Brandon Bye was hurt. So this seems to be a coach's decision, and I don't know if this is like a statement of like Feingold's the number one right now, or if it was like strategic choice to take Feingold in this game because he wanted a little more attacking flexibility, maybe. I don't know. How did you guys feel about Feingold? I thought he had a really good performance, and I was surprised he started, and honestly was unhappy at first that he was starting, but then by the end I was like, all right, I'll give it to Porter on this one.
Yeah, he earned it. Again, like you, I was like, Brandon Bye's not in, huh? I guess Porter doesn't want us to be aggressive, but to Feingold's credit, he brought it, and it looked great. Now, did he do some silly things and get himself into trouble? He did.
A few.
But, I'll take the good with the bad. His crossing also needs a little bit of work, but he'll get there.
He's slightly better. I like, some of the times when he cuts inside, some of the runs he was able to do, just like carrying the ball, progressing it through not passing, but carrying it by himself was impressive to me. And I feel like he might bring more to the table than Brandon Bye when it comes to like carrying the ball solo up the field. Like Brandon Bye is more like, all right, you do a 1-2 pass with him, get him out wide, he does a cross. Feingold feels like he could fake the pass and like cut inside and just like charge on, like head on at defenses, which is a pretty cool dimension in your right back. Like he's not as fast as like a Miller, but
not many
he
are.
Clearly has more technical ability than Miller at this time at least. And yeah, anyway, I think Feingold, I'm feeling pretty good.
I like Feingold a lot. I like his passion, and this is a question that Coach got in the post-game presser. If Porter is concerned with the yellow cards,
If you yell in my face,
Yellow card.
pull a jersey in a race,
Yellow card.
tackle too late.
and he said no, I love him. And then he clarified. He's like, obviously we don't want players getting yellow cards recklessly all the time, but it shows a passion and a fight that is really valuable, and it's the sort of thing that we need in the team. And it's I like it. I like seeing it.
Hell yeah, brother. No, it's funny. I wrote in my notes too. The last thing I wrote about him, the one negative thing, is I was near the end of the game. I was like, please sub him out. He's going to get a red, like because he got a yellow, got a like warning. Like it was the classic thing where he had multiple talkings too. Excuse me, from the referee.
Yeah,
after getting a yellow, where he goes up in his face and he's like, one more yellow.
I'm
like,
serious this time.
Give a yellow. I'm serious. And I was like, please, Porter, please sub him out. Oh my God. Like, he's going to get one. But I agree with you that he has like an intensity and a passion, which I love. But also my prediction for the season, he will get at least one straight red.
There's been a red card, but for who, Chris Kamara?
I don't know, Jeff, has there? I must have missed that. Red card.
Like, that's inevitable. If there's a way to place that as a bet through DraftKings, my favorite
preferred betting
app,
platform.
Yeah, my favorite betting platform and a favorite sponsor. No, they're not a sponsor of the show. We don't do that.
Not yet.
Not yet. But you could sponsor us. We'd change our morals. No,
sell out right now.
I'll do it.
So that's it for Stock Up, Stock Down. Did you guys have any other players you want to shout out or moments from the game or something, or just a final comment before we hop into the mailbag? Chad, I see you putting your hand up.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for calling on me, sir.
Yeah.
No, obviously one player that we all agree is vital to this team and doesn't really even need a shout out on Stock Up all the time because how much higher can he go, really? Carles Gil. Captain.
Did I not even mention Carles Gil? I think I had him
skipped
at the top
right
of my list.
over
Did I
him.
skip him?
So high.
That is unironically
and he's
embarrassing
literally
and
on
shameful.
your hat right now. It's kind of
shame. I'm literally wearing a hat with his name. I'm putting it up in the camera. I'm wearing my Carles Gil hat, and I forgot to mention him. He's obviously the most stock up.
He's the heartbeat.
How passionate he looks. He's just screaming and like fist bumping, and I don't know. It gets me hyped up because sometimes
It's exactly what you want to see.
You want to see that from like we said, the heartbeat of the team, man. So when he is like, fuck yeah, let's go, like that is contagious to the fans and the players.
Can you do that again, but in a Spanish accent, please?
On that note, do you guys have anything else you want to add? Final thoughts before I hop into the mailbag?
Take us to the bag.
Let's go to the mailbag. We're going to the mailbag. All right. We have a few questions, not as much as last week, but last week was a mailbag special, and we're approaching time anyway, so we'll get through the mailbag here. So our first question is from Pete from Worcester, Massachusetts. Shout out, Worcester, Massachusetts, best city in all of Massachusetts. I'm not biased at all because I live here. Pete asks, our April schedule is pretty daunting. Which game of the next 4 are you most concerned about?
You want to take this one? Kick us off, Tyler?
Sure. So I looked at the schedule. It is pretty intimidating. We have to play Cincinnati, we play Atlanta, then we play NYC, FC at home, and then end that for our April kind of schedule on a game at Charlotte. So 3 of the next 4 on the road, and all 3 of those road games are tough. So I was looking at all of them, thinking about our strengths and weaknesses, and I think the one we should be most worried about is Atlanta United. I personally think Charlotte are maybe a slightly better team, but I think with how poor the rest defense and how vulnerable the Revs are in transition right now, I think that the speed of Lance Law and Almiron on Atlanta is going to be a super big issue for our backline, and I hope to God we have our 2 starting center backs for that game. We seem really vulnerable on the break, and I was just watching LAFC as a random example, a team that thrives on the break, and I'm like, I feel like if we played a team like that, or like in Atlanta, we could lose like 4 or 5-1 unless our rest defense gets a little better. Like when we lose the ball during an attack, we're so vulnerable in transition. I don't know. Do you guys agree with that take? Because I feel like a pretty...
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I from like a point standpoint, I do agree. I do, but I would say from a mentality standpoint, I think this Cincinnati game coming up is more important just because...
Interesting.
Sure.
All right, we got the first win. Can you keep up the momentum? Can you look as sharp? Can you kind of raise the bar even a little bit more, get marginally better?
Yeah. Do it away from home.
Yeah, so we'll see if what they do in Ohio, and yeah, then on to your Atlanta game. It's going to be a rough month, potentially.
It could be rough. I mean, this is a really positive jumping off point, but the real thing that would give me confidence is if we could do a road upset. Like, honestly, yeah, the Red Bulls are decent, but we should be expected to win or at least draw this game we just had. It wasn't like, holy shit, they look incredible. Like, we won and it was great, but it was a penalty in stoppage time. And we could have lost. Anyway, I feel like the real test is about to start.
Cincinnati was the runner-up for receiving the relocated Sundance Film Festival. They're leaving Sundance, Utah. They're moving to Boulder, Colorado. Cincinnati was the runner-up, almost got it, but did not get it. So maybe there will be a little bit of a demoralization for the city of Cincinnati there. For not getting that lauded indie film festival.
Wait,
the
also,
FC Cincinnati fans are so quiet today. Yeah, what the hell? Yeah. The fans there, the one thing we know about FC Cincinnati fans is they're
major cinephiles.
Major cinephiles, and the fact that they lost out on Sundance, they were so close to getting Sundance, and now they don't have it. Maybe the players are probably going to be affected by that too. I think Evander is one of the biggest cinephiles on the team, and he's like their best player.
He loves City of God.
How are we going to watch all of our foreign films now?
Now they got nothing but Skyline chili.
We refuse to play. Yeah, the only dub they have. I've never had Skyline chili. Has anyone ever had Skyline chili?
I think it has like cinnamon in it.
Oh, all right.
I hate that. I
can kind of mess with it. I use cocoa powder in my chili.
Yeah, I'm kind of into it.
Is it something where they put the chili in spaghetti? Am I making that up?
Okay, that's horrible. That's terrible.
That I would not do. I'm not sure about that.
I'm gonna have to check. I'm gonna do. The research team is looking into it right now, but I think they might.
We'll run a correction.
Skyline Chili might do their chili.
What Skyline Chili is
spaghetti.
Exactly.
I will edit in myself.
Skyline Chili is famous for its Cincinnati-style chili, which is often served over spaghetti, known as a 3-way when topped with shredded cheddar cheese.
Affirming.
I hope it's not
true.
spaghetti.
If it's not, I'm gonna edit this whole part out. So it's a win-win for me.
I find that personally offensive. To be quite honest with you.
Yeah. So would you guys agree with me that maybe Atlanta is the biggest concern over the next 4 games?
No, I can see. I think Atlanta is probably the best team we're going to come up against, and then I agree with Chad that Cincinnati is the first test. So that is really where we got to have our mentality at.
Ooh, I have a great question to end this segment on before we do the final few questions. What would you say, points wise? Over the next 4 games, what is the minimum number of points for it to be considered a success for Porter? Maximum of 12 points. Maximum 12 points. Really difficult stretch.
With how difficult this stretch is in April, I'm going to go 4 points in 4 games.
Okay.
I really want to beat NYC at home, and then if we can win a draw from one of these challenging teams, these are all MLS Cup competitors.
Yeah, for sure.
So that would be where I would go for the minimum.
4.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there.
I think so too. I'm hoping like 5 or more I'd be like kind of stoked. And if we got any road dub of those like at all,
oh gosh,
I would be huge. My mentality for this whole season would honestly change if we had a convincing road dub of any kind in April, especially after this game. All right, we'll go. I think 4 points is a good. I agree on that one. So let's say Porter. We know you're listening right now. Caleb, Mr. Porter, Coach Porter. We need 4 points at least from the next 4 games in April. Preferably 5 to 6. We're not asking for too much. We just want.
We're not greedy.
We're not greedy. The Dry Powder Pod is not a greedy podcast.
That's the Dry Powder promise.
Next question is actually from me because we didn't get as many questions as I was hoping this week, which is okay.
I appreciate your honesty.
We'll forgive the fans. Yeah, I could have made up a name or something, but this is me, Tyler from the past. What are your thoughts on the stutter step style penalty? Both Carles Gil and Kevin Denke of FC Cincinnati both scored stoppage time penalties this weekend where they pretty much came to a complete stop in their run-up and possibly even stepped backwards a tiny bit.
Well, Belinda,
it's Tyler, actually.
Oh, sorry.
Well, you can't show them how the sausage is made?
Cut the mics!
Cut it! They just swatted me. I'm dead. Yeah. Well, Tyler, I hate stutter step style penalties. I hate any penalty run up that is not an honest, workmanlike run up, kick the ball, pick a corner, and boot it. You know, you have an 80% chance of scoring a penalty, something like that. It is drastically in the favor of the penalty taker and against the goalie. Mm-hmm. The little tricks and the little dark arts. And you know, it strikes me as dishonest and evil. And I wish that honestly,
except when Carles does it, it's not evil. When Carles does it.
No. Yeah, when Carles does it, it's good. When we win, it's good. Setting aside our team, I think that God should actually prevent those balls from going into the net when you do a silly sort of penalty run up like that. I really think that there should be some sort of ball don't lie type metaphysical phenomenon that prevents stutter step style penalties from succeeding.
I agree 100%. That's a really good take.
Hell yeah.
Except for Carles.
Yeah, except for Carles. Carles can do whatever he wants. He's just playing by the rules. He doesn't make the rules.
Exactly.
Chad, did you have any thoughts on stutter step pens?
Yeah, they usually make the goalie look fucking terrible.
They're pretty effective.
The Denke penalty, the goalie just completely just sat down on the wrong side and missed the ball by like a foot. It was crazy. Here's my hot take. This would be more entertaining, I feel like.
Hot take alert.
As soon as the player starts their run up, the goalie should be able to start a run up too.
Would they be in the same distance away?
Well, no, it would be, all right, the player, you can start wherever you want. Maybe don't take a 20-foot run up.
So as soon as he blows the whistle, they both have to start sprinting towards the ball.
No, but I'm saying the player can start wherever they want.
It's okay. It's getting suspiciously close to old school MLS penalties.
Yes, and that would be sick.
That would be sick. Bring those back. I think that's what we were subtly getting at here. Yeah, it's just something where the goalkeeper has a higher rate of success.
If you're gonna let the players do some sort of tricky nonsense, then I don't know, like let the goalie come off the line and do some nonsense too.
They should be able to like throw a battery at the penalty taker.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Oh, you get 2 designated batteries that you can throw only during penalty shootouts or like pocket sand or
toss
something.
Like a flare to him from the supporter sections.
Dude, Emi Martinez is like
whip your water bottle at him.
These suggestions, yeah. He would love to just be like, yeah, goalies can fuck around, dude. That's their new.
Goalies can throw batteries now.
This is a new rule. Yeah,
his career just extended 10 years.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, he would do the most legendary shithousery if that was allowed. All right, so yeah, I think our general consensus on this one, Tyler, from the past, is we don't really like the stutter step that much. We want to empower the goalkeepers more, and the stutter step just kind of helps make it easier for the shooter. So it's not okay to stutter step unless you're Carles Gil, because he does it in a cool way. His way is dope. Unlike Kevin Denke, that was
in a way that personally benefits me.
Exactly. So Chad from Right Now asks, it was interesting seeing the starting 11 for this team when the lineups came out. I agree 100%. I had immediately was like, ooh, what's going on here? Brandon Bai seems to be taking a back seat to the younger Feingold. Do we think that Bai has a future on this team? Chad, that is a pretty reactionary question, but I like it. What do you think right now? And then I'll respond.
I mean, I hope so. I really like Brandon Bai personally. I think he's been a staple for this team for the last couple of years. He's probably hit his ceiling.
It's a tough one because
I want to see him succeed.
He's definitely at his ceiling. I agree. I want to see him succeed as well. And his ceiling is good, very good for MLS, but he's at his ceiling for sure. There's not like a next level for Brandon Bye. At least, well, maybe there is. I don't know. There could.
Maybe he gets traded to a different team, and then they just unlock something in him. But again, that's kind of the question.
Seen that before.
Yeah.
That would be unfortunate. Yeah, dude. What's the over-under on Brandon Bye ending up on the San Jose Earthquakes before the end of this season?
It's probably pretty good odds on that. I think it's a good problem to have. We have
for sure.
What looks to me like solid rotation options at both wingback or both fullback positions. We don't really play with the wingbacks. We have solid rotation at both fullback positions, and that's a valuable thing. You probably can't say that about every single team in the league. So I'm just going to say that it's a good problem to have for now. And I think that we're going to see impressive shifts put in by both Bye and Feingold at RB this year.
I think you're right, and I feel like what we could end up seeing, and this would be impressive on Porter if he's able to pull this off, if he could kind of make them both feel like rotate them in a way where he's using them for specific games, for specific approaches, and kind of uses them interchangeably, like almost like they're getting similar amounts of minutes. That could also backfire because I guess you kind of also want to like have a starting 11, and that like insecurity can be annoying, but I wouldn't mind seeing like a revolving door there a little bit as Feingold develops, but it's hard to tell what's best. And also Porter, I don't know if I trust him to make the right decisions if he's rotating a player in and out of a position like game after game.
I certainly don't trust Porter, but for a couple other reasons too.
All right, I want to end off the mailbag here because we're going over a little bit. Surprise, surprise. Because we always have so much to say, and we're so knowledgeable.
The listeners love it.
The listeners love it. We didn't get any mailbag questions.
They constantly want more.
Because all the mailbag was just like, more. Make the episodes longer. Say more. Talk more. We love this. Not my words. Those are the words of our fans. So our question of the week this week comes from Chelsea from Vermont. As soon as I sent this one to you guys in advance because I was like, Chelsea gets our brand, which is, we love that 100%. When someone immediately gets our brand. So I'm so curious to hear what you guys have to say about this one. Chelsea from Vermont asks, you have to eat one Revs player. Who is it, and how do you prepare them?
It's totally unhinged. Absolutely love it.
Unhinged.
So my thinking is,
audience, send us questions like this.
How do we know that was not the team dinner last night or 2 nights ago?
Oh my goodness! Wait a minute! Was anyone out?
Was anyone missing from the bench?
Oh God!
Any of the injured players not on the bench?
Pulling up the numbers right now. It could be a thing where they like ate like one of the non-worthy youth team members, like to help. We want to keep Carles Gil young, so we feed him the youth academy players that are not as good as the other ones that aren't as promising. It's like no, we're having a dinner
that's
party.
why you have an academy.
You must
Carles,
all
you gotta
taste
come
the
over.
adrenochrome.
Yeah,
play better tomorrow.
Richie Williams coaching
Peter Thiel
Revs
had a
is
team.
like, you guys need to put on 50 pounds, and they're like, what? Yeah,
we're dirty bulking this month.
We're dirty bulking. Don't question this technique. It comes from this is the crafts insisted.
All right, boys. Your homework is to eat a lot of butter.
Yeah. So Malcolm Fry has a mysterious leg injury is doubtful. Do we have any proof that he wasn't consumed by the first team, and that's why they won?
We don't have proof. It's unverifiable.
Also, Andrew Farrell was out. That scares me.
Well, we don't want to.
They wouldn't. He would not be. They would not eat Andrew Farrell. That would.
He would offer himself up.
He's so selfless. Yeah,
he is. He's even more selfless than Langoni. He would offer himself up to be consumed.
Yeah. So I would say, Chelsea. This is a
team.
really important question you've asked, and
this is a great question.
This is. I feel like you said, it would be a family-style dinner with, sort of Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes.
Am I eating him in front of his family? Is that what you mean by family style?
We're the family. We're the Texas Chainsaw Massacre family.
Yeah, Carles Gil is the grandpa in the chair who needs the, youth essence.
Oh, I was going to eat Carles.
I think
he would be delicious. Obviously we can't eat Carles because it would impact the results on the field, right? But I just think he would be delicious.
That's what I'm saying. I'm picturing him. The reason we start eating our players is it's like we eat players to consume their youth, like drink their blood, and it's to keep Carles alive. Okay. So Carles is like in his 50s, but he hasn't aged at all, and no one knows how. He becomes the oldest professional soccer player in the world. And it's all because of the dirty little secret.
That's like
the system.
70.
Yeah. There is that guy in Japan who's still going. Who's like, I think he's in his early 60s.
Maybe this is what he's doing.
Oh my God. Have we looked at? We need to, in whatever team he plays for, we need to investigate their youth academy and see if any of the players have disappeared and appeared on the side of milk cartons. Do they do milk cartons?
Dry
over in
powder
Japan?
investigates.
Is that an American thing? The milk carton missing kid? I think
that's an American
right?
special, I think.
Did you guys have any other Revs players you'd want to eat?
Can I pick a past player?
Yeah.
Sure.
Gustavo Bo.
Oh,
ooh, he'd be tasty.
Dude. Oh my God. He ate
Panther
so
meat.
many steaks that I feel like he would taste like a delicious steak. Yeah. No, Gustavo Bo is such a good shout.
I remember the
holding my
Instagram-
green paddle up for him.
Yeah, the reels where he would be like, "This is my barbecue setup," and I was like, "That is an incredible piece of kitchen equipment, sir."
Yeah, he could really barbecue.
He was an absolute grill master, and therefore probably would taste good to grill up himself. Gustavo Bo, please come back. Actually, maybe not at this point, but come back. I don't coach us or something. We miss you, friend of the pod. I don't know, man.
He's not going to want to come back now. He thinks I want to eat him.
No,
yeah,
well,
that's true. Don't listen to this.
We want to eat him metaphorically speaking, as in, consume him and then digest him and incorporate him into the starting lineup. Okay, we're getting off the rails here a little bit, and I want to hop into the next match preview. But thank you, Chelsea, for that amazing question.
Thank you, Chelsea.
That rocked.
Great question. Best question we've ever had.
We might follow up on that one next week because I want to think on that one a little more. So we're going to end on our next match preview because we're running out of time. The Revs, as we previously mentioned, are heading to Ohio. Woo! We're going out west to Ohio. Midwest, not the West. The Midwest. Woo, woo, woo.
Revs are going to Ohio.
We're going to Ohio to face off against a mid-table FC Cincinnati. In terms of FC Cincinnati, they look pretty solid right now. They made some really notable offseason signings. They haven't looked as good as I was hoping they would. Or not hoping, I assumed they would be, given how much money they spent on the offseason on two very notable attackers in Kevin Denke and Evander. Evander, having come from Portland, I think a lot of us agree on this pod that Evander, maybe outside of Messi, is the best player in the league. So that was a crazy intra-league
one of my favorites
outside
of Carles.
And then Kevin Denke was the most expensive signing in MLS history for like a month until Atlanta signed Latte La, which was even more expensive. But Kevin Denke has looked pretty solid, had some really good moments. But Evander especially, I'm like, that guy's good. I still think they're a pretty beatable team. Their defense in the past, their defense has been their strength. Matt Miazga, one of the best center backs in the league, has been out since the middle of last season with an ACL tear, so he's still out. And they've conceded a fair amount of XG this season, despite some pretty good results. They pass a lot. They pass okay. I don't know. What are you guys looking to see in this next match? I'm hopeful that we can get a result, honestly. I don't think Cincinnati is an unstoppable team. I don't know. Where are you guys on the optimism meter going into this one?
I'm thinking draw. I'm thinking a hard-fought draw, not goalless. I'm thinking each side gets a goal or two.
Yeah. None of us got our score predictions right for last week, so Chad is still winning 1-0 on
still
score
in the lead.
Still
yeah.
winning.
So I'm gonna go either 1-1 or 2-2. I can't decide though.
Oh, you got to lock in on one. I gotta
lock in. I'm gonna lock in 2-2
for more fun. And you know what? That's such a crazy score. If you get that right, I'm gonna give you 2 points. You heard it here first from the host. Chad, what are you looking to see in this game, and then what do you expect to see?
Well, first of all, Abe took my score prediction. Damn you.
Wow, dude. First come, first serve, though. That's how it works.
I know. I should have spoke up earlier. I expect that we are going to have some moments where we crumble completely in a transition, but I also would like to see Langoni keep making those runs. I think that will unlock and start to loosen up the offense a lot more.
I think he can get behind this back line. I really do. I don't think they're like ridiculously fast or anything. I think Langoni could really do some damage here.
Yeah, and if he takes a shot, hopefully he gets his first goal. Hopefully Ganago gets his first goal.
Langoni, shoot the ball. Begging for Langoni to shoot ASMR.
What's your score prediction?
My score prediction, I'm going to go, I feel like I just got to be, Chad, did you say a score prediction? You didn't?
Oh, not a real one.
Lock in.
I can cut it in. Lock in, dude. Lock in. Lock in.
Score prediction. I'm going to go crazy. Let's go crazy. Let's go 3-3.
Yo. Okay.
It's going to be an entertaining match, folks.
You will also get two points if you correctly call that because it's such a crazy score. I'm going to go, I feel like this could be a high scoring one. I'm going 3-2 Revs. I believe we're going to get... I have to be... As the host, I feel like I have to be the optimist with the score prediction to balance things out. So I'm going 3-2 Revs.
We're just co-hosts. We're nothing.
Think Atlanta, I might end up predicting a loss or a tie, but I think Cincinnati... I am nothing without the New England Revolution Major League Soccer team. I think of all the road games in this stretch, I think this is the one that we're most likely to be able to get a result from. So I hope they come out there and kind of like sucker punch Cincinnati with like an early, not literally sucker punch them and get a red. Feingold, don't take that literally.
No, actually
metaphorically sucker punch them.
Punch him. Actually sucker punch them.
Do it. Yeah, metaphorically sucker punch them. Get an early goal
after the final whistle.
I think we could pull off a result. Get a few early, like two early goals, and then like hold on and get a penalty or something. So I'm going 3-2. On that note, did you guys have anything to add before? I think we did a good job of summarizing things. Screw you, Red Bulls. You stink. We're very happy to beat you. Emil Forsberg.
Big win.
You know?
Big win, and we're on to Ohio.
You may have been the best player on the field, but you are not the best father. So we'll end on that note. Are you guys ready to say goodbye? I think we're done.
Yeah, let's say goodbye.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. It's been another great week. Everyone who listens is an amazing person, and you guys are all incredible. Goodbye. Stop recording now.